Hello and welcome to lesson number 13. We are going to finish off the book of Proverbs today. And it's interesting, we've had these one verse Sunday school lessons for weeks. And today we're going to have 21 verses. Well, it's going to be a good lesson, good topic. Finally, a lot to work with, maybe too much. We're going to be dealing with this Proverbs 31 woman, this superwoman who does everything, who is such a blessing. So the lesson title is A Woman of Noble Character. I think that's kind of the point. The main idea is an excellent woman who fears the Lord has an advantage over all others. Yeah, I agree with that. She occupies a position of honor and blessing that age and appearance cannot take away. So she is a woman of great character. She has a lot of respect from those closest to her and everyone else, her husband, her children, and the community. Study aim. To understand that a woman of noble character is clothed with dignity and strength. This means that strength and dignity are so natural she wears them like a well fitted garment. She is who she is, and she's very well respected, but she cares more about what the Lord thinks and her family thinks than everybody else. But everybody else loves her and they respect her. Uh, I've thought about this lesson. Let me give you some introduction. We know Solomon was a king. He had 300 wives and concubines. Most of them were from foreign countries, political marriages, and you know, you have to wonder, did Solomon write this particular passage? Because I don't think very many of his wives would ever measure up to this. These were upper class uh, women who were used to nice things. Um, is this maybe his ideal? Maybe not particularly one of his wives, but maybe in his mind an ideal. That's a good point because, was this a real person? Who did he have in mind? Um, we don't know. Was it edited later by a different writer? A lot of the Old Testament books were edited later. I mean, if we believe Moses wrote the first five books of the Old Testament, there's passages within the first five books where it talks about Moses dying. So an editor certainly inserted that. Was this an editor's insert? Well, something to think about. I guess if you watch the news and you've been keeping up with current events, I guess you've heard about the kicker from the Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison Butker, who spoke at a Catholic college last week, and he praised homemakers. And man, uh, everybody started freaking out about it, like he was putting down women. And so you've had a lot of people come out in his defense this week saying, no, that's not what he said. He's just saying homemakers are it's an honorable thing, and it's a cornerstone of our society, and women are to be praised. And maybe we should think twice about being so gung ho about going and getting a job and everything, where maybe the real blessing would be being at home with your husband and your children. I think that every family has to decide what that looks like for them. I don't know that every woman is wired to stay home with her kids. Some families financially can't do it. We all know how hard it is to make ends meet these days. I've got children that are on both sides of this. Two of them are school teachers, my daughters, and they work. They love what they do. I feel like they're called to do that. Got one daughter in law who stays home and homeschools her children. That was an arrangement they made between themselves when they were still dating before they got married. My son's a military chaplain, and they move every 3 years, and they didn't want to move their children from school to school. It's hard enough being a military family. So she homeschools them, and she stays home with the kids while he goes and works. That's their arrangement. I think you do what works. I do get the point, though, where maybe sometimes it would be better for the mother to stay home with the children and be a homemaker. But I still think it's a choice. Good discussion, though. Great discussion. Um, I think the lesson today um, discusses who this woman is. Who is she? I think then it has a lot to say about what she does. So, 21 verses, I'm going to read it, and then we're going to just very quickly move through these points. But the Proverbs 31 woman, this super mom, super wife, let's see what the Bible has to say about her. A woman of noble character who can find? They're very rare. She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value because she helps. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. What a blessing she is. She selects wool and flax and works with her hands. She's like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She works. She gets up while it's still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. Wow, she has the ability to buy property and plant a vineyard. Some kind of woman, isn't she, in this culture? She sets out her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She's buff. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. See, she prepares for things. In her hands, she holds the staff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. This is twice as talked about her weaving and things, sewing. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes covering for her bed. She is clothed in fine linens and purple. Man, she's done very well. Purple, people wore drab. This color of royalty. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She is a blessing to him, and everybody knows it. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. Boy, she's a businesswoman. She's clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She's not worried about the future. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. Boy, she's got it all. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. She's a hard worker. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. What a beautiful thing. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So, you see how she is a person of great quality. She is a person of great wisdom. She is respected. That's who she is. Okay. 10 and 12, verses 10 and 12 talks about she has noble character. Okay. Her husband has full confidence in her. And they lack nothing because she goes out and provides it. Verse 23 talks about her husband going to the city gate, and he's a respected person. This is a respected family because they're a good family, and she does her part. 25 through 26 talks about how she's clothed with dignity and strength. She's not afraid of the future. She's confident. She has wisdom, and she shares that wisdom with others. And then verse 28, it talks about her children arise and call her blessed, and her husband also. I love that they articulate their feelings for one another. We're not very good at that in this culture these days. We seem to be able to communicate real good on Facebook, but we're not very good about it face to face. We need to change that. And they articulate their feelings for one another and they're affirming of one another. Um, and so, what a beautiful thing. That's who she is. Let's talk for just a moment about what she does. You know, there's two different things. She works with her hands. Twice it mentions her hands. She is productive with her hands. She does those things. She works hard to provide for her family. Man, she's up early and works late. She's industrious. She's not just sitting there doing nothing. Her days are full. She's got things going on that she doesn't. She has a heart for the needy and she's learned how to share. What a great example that is. It talks about who she is, but she shares with the needy. Gosh, it's such a simple thing to share. We should learn that as babies, but many of us don't. And so she's productive, but she shares her blessing and she's not idle. She's got a daily schedule and she keeps it. This lesson has a conclusion, and I love it that it kind of wraps it up in verse 29. Let's see that. It says, many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. It's like the writer's talking directly to her. He's pronouncing his blessings upon her and what a blessing she is. It says, charm is deceptive and beauty's fleeting. You know, you're not always going to be the beautiful young bride that you once were. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That's something more beautiful than earthly beauty. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. There is a reward for being this type of person. Well, let me share some truths with you, some things I've thought about to kind of wrap this lesson up. First thing is, not every woman matches up to this Proverbs 31 woman. It's written as an encouragement to women to say these are really beautiful things in a woman. And these are ideas to attain to. Not every woman is there, just like not every man is there. But we should continually work to make ourselves better and be a blessing to those around us, especially our family. So if you're a woman and you're hearing this lesson today and you're not all of that, well, none of us are. Work on it. Do better um, and plan and push forward into the future. Be the person that God created you to be. Second truth is we need to be careful about the type of woman or mother that we idolize. These ideas may be more cultural than biblical. I mean, our idea of a stay at home mom, just being there for her husband and keeping her house, do you see how this woman is not really that? She's really a businesswoman who's doing both. And so we need to be careful about this idea that we have in our mind about what the perfect wife and mother looks like, because this is not it. She's a businesswoman. She's wealthy. Uh, she does love her children. She does provide for her husband and her children, but she's not like a stay at home mom like we perceive it to be. Sometimes we get these ideas about what's really godly, and it's a cultural thing, not biblical. So let's be careful about that. Third thing is we each need to appreciate the godly women in our life, no matter what their life looks like. If they go to work every day and help provide for the family, and this family believes this is God's will for them, then let's encourage them and appreciate them. If they're stay-at-home moms and they're worn out from taking care of those kids and they need a day off, let's appreciate them too. I think it's a personal choice, and there's room for both biblically. And so let's appreciate all the godly women in our life. Let's pray together. Jesus, we love you. We thank you that you put blessings in our life, and many of those blessings are the godly women. Pray you bless them. I pray that they would be encouraged. I pray that we would encourage them and we would be there to help them and love them. In your name I pray. Amen. God bless you. You have a great week. We'll get into a new study next week.